Freddie, I love you. Right. I want to be with you. We had such a good relationship. I mean, we were doing everything together. Dear Freddie, I wrote this love letter to you out here watching the setting sun. The red oranges of its fiery blaze remind me of our love for each other. I long to hold you the way the sky holds the sun. I love you.
Met those guys, fell in love, went to prom.
He wants such. I can't forget that thing, so I don't care about you anymore. I don't. I don't. Oh, I don't care about you anymore. I don't.
I love you.
But still, love hurts, doesn't it?
So let me ask you this.
Uh-huh.
How long do you think a couple should be together before they, start getting after it?
Hey, baby! You got girlfriend, Vietnam? Well, baby, me so horny. Me so horny. Me love you long time. Me so horny. Me sucky. Me love you so much.
I think Dave is ready for an intelligent, very down-to-earth girl.
Junkie, funky, smoky, red in the pushy. She give you everything you want. Long time.
And that's, I think, what Marcy has to bring to Dave.
Come on. She love you good. Boom, boom, long time.
What's wrong there, Chief?
She says, no, boom, boom, brother.
Oh, my God.
You know, Ed, if I thought you were my friend, I just don't think I could bear it.
My best physical attribute would be, please, save me, I love him. I'm never as flat as I am. I'm never as flat as I am. Never as flat as I am.
You gonna do something or just stand there and bleed?
But you knew that.
I wasn't sure.
I don't know how. The baby looks just like him.
Yes, he does.
Yeah, so you were in denial. Because he has a funny little chin. He has a funny little chin, doesn't he?
Yes, he does.
Yeah, and the baby had that same little chin. Same little chin.
If I could be with them both, I would.
You know, I love you.
I love you too.
I mean, I'm really in love with Governor Bush's. I'm sure that both of us have some experiences and feelings that are very similar right now. I mean, I'm really in love with Governor Bush. I'm really in love with Governor Bush. Really in love with Governor Bush. I'm really in love with Governor Bush. When the American people vote election, considerable doubt about that. I understand that there's considerable doubt about that, and that. Well, look, no, because the votes haven't been counted, and tried to vote, did vote, but the votes have not all been counted. Yeah, the election is close enough. Not been counted. Couldn't be different. They should be counted. Counted the undervote and counted have a hand count. That if there was a hand count of the entire state, they believe that if there was a hand count of the entire state, our margin of victory would be even larger than it will be when these votes are counted in Miami-Dade and Palm Beach. That if the voter has expressed the vote,
and the machine has fouled up in some way.
Voter of the right to vote, and the voter of the right to vote, voter of the right to vote.
And if the voter has made
a clear mark, vote, then it ought to be counted. Vote, then it ought to be counted. I'm sure the Bush family, is family. I'm sure the Bush family is just like our family in being prepared to win, being sort of prepared if it didn't go the right way. Deal with that, but and to have neither out that, but deal with that, but not expecting to have neither out. That we have been able to spend a lot of time together. I don't lie awake at night. I sleep like a baby. I don't lie awake at night. I sleep like a baby. Awake at night. I sleep like a baby. I don't lie awake at night. I sleep like a baby. I sleep like a baby. I've been kidding. And in fact, I believe we're going to win this election. We're going to win this. That the votes are going to have to be counted. I'm really in love with Governor Bush. December, over by the middle of December, I think it's most unlikely that it'll go past that. If I did not win, the first thing I would do is
turn my attention to trying to help Governor Bush unify the country.
Behind his leadership. And
make sure that there was no question about the
legitimacy of
his win. That's why
one of the reasons
why I'm focused now on
insistence that every vote be counted. And yes, our country has a great need for
unity
and to minimize the feelings of rancor. No, I have never used that word.
That phrase.
My supporters never to use that phrase. Supporters never to use in one public statement.
My supporters never to use that phrase.
I think that the book is an obligation during this time when the votes are still being to be counted. For the election and that before far worse than that before called me far worse than that before the election and that before me far worse than that before. You know, I read people who two very different visions of America's future. There were two very different visions of Governor Bush. And if I was
worried about the kind of situation that confronted me
as president, I wouldn't have run
in the first place.
As president, I wouldn't have run in the first place. Well, I don't think that we're having an election about the election. Election about the election. About the election. Election about the election. Well, I don't think that we're having an election about the election.
Will we count all the votes or not?
Thousands of votes that might determine. Ignoring votes means ignoring democracy. It's the voter, the American spirit is. No matter how close an election is, you know what, when it's close, be decided by the people. And you know what, when it's decided by the people. And you know what, when it's close, it means that the passions are high. It means that the passions are high. It means that, and in a close election, for the outcome to be determined will be accepted by all the people. Accepted by all the people. Accepted by all the people. Both to go out and register. Had an equal opportunity to get people to turn out immediately after the election, to look at where there might have been mistakes. Look, there are a lot of mistakes in this county, and we had that. Ordinary situation, Claire. Sounds corny, I know, but democracy, that sounds corny, I know, but believe me, I can do without that part. I can do without that part of it either. I'm sure that both of us have some experiences and feelings that are very similar right now. I'm really in love with Governor Bush. A full and fair count of the votes, and I said, my opponent is elected, then of course I will concede. I said that in my second call to Governor Bush on election, not man to man. What looked like a 50,000 vote margin all of a sudden is whoa, this is too close to call. It just seemed to me to be the decent thing to call him back and say computer results that we do, and of course both he and I had the same Florida and on election night because they were early in the evening. But then that changed the other way. It's an amazing story, isn't it? You could say that we have been able to spend a lot of time together, and after the rigors of the campaign trail, it's nice to sleep in the same bed every night. I'm really in love with Governor Bush.
Chuck dropped everything. He went AWOL for a girl. Chuck dropped his whole life and went AWOL for a girl. He bought her a pearl necklace and gave it to her. He put on a pot of coffee and he put the grounds up his nose. Chuck took his safety deposit box and put it on his underpants at home. Went AWOL for a girl. Chuck dropped everything and then he went AWOL for a girl. He gave her everything that he owned in the world. He dropped everything at once and went AWOL for a girl. Uncle Sam, he didn't understand. He asked for his money back. So he had to take Uncle Sam to the movies for free. And then he was forgiven. Chuck dropped everything and he went AWOL for a girl.
Just moments ago, I congratulated the president, and I promised that I wouldn't call him back. I offered to meet with him as soon as possible. Contest who was who this past. Senator Stephen Douglas told Abraham Lincoln that partisan feelings must yield to patriotism. God bless you.
And may God bless his stewardship of this country.
Neither he nor I anticipated this long and difficult road. Yet it came, and now it is ended. Resolved as it must be resolved, over the library of one of our great law schools is that's the ruling principle of American freedom, the source of what
As it has guided America's deliberations of all the complex issues of the past 5 weeks.
Now the U.S. Supreme Court has spoken. Now the U.S. Supreme Court has spoken. Let the Court has spoken. Let there be no doubt. While I strongly disagree with the Court's decision, I accept the finality of this outcome, which will be ratified next Monday in the Electoral College. And for the sake of our unity as a people and the strength of our democracy, I also accept my responsibility and that our Constitution affirms and defends. Tipper and I feel a deep gratitude to Joe and Tim. This has been an extraordinary election. This has been an extraordinary election. Extraordinary election. Been an extraordinary election. This has been an extraordinary election. But in one of God's unforeseen paths,
this belatedly broken in
can point us all to a new common ground. Indeed, that history gives us many examples of other disputes that dragged on for weeks, and each dragged on for weeks before reaching resolution, and in the spirit of reconciliation. I know that many of my supporters are disappointed, and I say to our fellow members of the world, some have expressed concern at the unusual. I do not believe it need be so. Behind our next president, just as we fight hard when the stakes are high, and while there will be time enough to recognize that which unites us is greater than that which divides us. That which divides us, and that which divides us.
While we hold and do not yield our opposing beliefs,
there is a literally and figuratively. Mem consensus, literally and figuratively. I know I'll spend time in Tennessee and figuratively. Some have asked whether I have any regrets to stay and fight for the American people. As for the battle that ends tonight, with the love of Tipper and our family from Vietnam, and with gratitude for the campaign staff, truly darling, gratitude, truly darling, volunteers. Those multitudes around. In the words of our great hymn, America, 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 America. And now, my friends, in a phrase I once addressed to others, it's time for me to go. It's time for me to go. It's time for me to go.
Oh baby, oh baby, oh baby. Down, out of sight, let's get busy. No, we had chips and sauce. Okay. He jukes, he weaves, he scores. Right on baby, right on. Oh baby, let's get busy. I'm burning up from raw desire. I have two more. Out of sight, let's get busy. Oh baby. Oh baby, oh baby. He jukes, he weaves, he scores. Right on, baby, right on. And oh, baby, and oh, baby, oh, baby. Let's get busy. I'm burning up from raw desire. I have two more. Out of sight. Let's get busy. Oh, baby, and oh, baby, oh, baby. Okay, down. Out of sight. Let's get busy. No. We had chips and sauce? Okay. He jukes, he weaves, he scores. Right on, baby, right on. Oh, baby, and oh, baby, oh, baby.
Good evening, my fellow Americans, Mr. Speaker,
friends, our country, the outcome of the presidential election, not Vice President Gore and I. So I understand how difficult this moment has a distinguished record of service to our country as a congressman and a vice president. After this hard-fought contest, who worked so hard for waging a spirited campaign that I know was difficult to make. I have a lot to be thankful for tonight, and thankful that we were able to, in a peaceful way, as your next president. Laura's active involvement as First Lady, and she will be a wonderful First Lady. To have Dick Cheney by my side as our next Vice President. It has been a home to bipartisan. Here in a place where Democrats have, and in the end, I want to thank the legislators across the hall, and I cannot help but think of our mutual friends available for every one of our citizens. And I hope the long wait of the last 5 weeks of the recent past. Americans share hopes and goals and values far more important. And so do Democrats. And so do Republicans, and so do Democrats. I know Americans want common sense and common goals. They deserve, one person at a time, a more civil society in the 21st century. And our history proves it. I'm thankful to the American people for the great privilege of being able to serve the third President of the United States. A letter titled Reconciliation and Reform wrote this: the steady character of our countrymen is a rock to which we unequivocal in principle. We should be able to freedom in 200 years of America. Respect for generosity of spirit. And I ask you to pray for Vice President Gore as one nation. And together we will create an America that is open, an America that is educated, and our shared American values. I was not elected to serve one party of every race. I will do my best to serve your interests with respect. I will be guided by President Jefferson, and above all, to do great good for the cause of freedom. And God bless America. Very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Are you ready to take the oath? I am. Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. Raise your right hand and repeat after me. Take the oath. I am. Please raise your right hand and repeat after me.
George Walker Bush do solemnly swear.
I, George Walker Bush, do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully execute the office of President of the United States.
That I will faithfully execute the office of President of the United States.
And will to the best of my ability.
And will to the best of my ability.
Preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States.
Preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States. So help me God.
So help me God. Preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States.
So help me God. Please raise your right hand and repeat after me.
I, George Walker Bush, do solemnly swear. So help me God.
I, George Walker Bush, do solemnly swear. So help me God.
I, George Walker Bush, do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully execute the office of President of the United States.
And will to the best of my ability.
Preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States.
So help me God.
So help me George Walker Bush.
So help me George Walker Bush. Inauguration.
This is a poem. It's about the time I fell in love with a toad frog. It wasn't just an ordinary toad frog by any means. No, sir. This toad frog was special. She had pretty blue eyes. And every time I looked at her, I sneezed. I don't mean like every other time. I mean every time I looked at her, man, I would sneeze. Now many folks would say, boy, you crazy. Every time you look at that little blue-eyed toad frog, you start sneezing. Why don't you just get away from that thing? That thing? How could you call this pretty little toad frog a thing? She wasn't just an ordinary toad frog. She was special. Her name was Slinky, and she could sing.
The toad frog with the eyes of blue, sing a song for me and you. Stars are falling from the sky, lost the cosmos in my eye. Singing toad frog from the night, the moon is shining oh so bright. Bring the song and Slinky sings, the desperation that the dawn brings. This time I sneeze, there is no more, lost in this swamp forevermore.
Slinky's gone now. She ran off with a billy goat. And the more I think about her, the more it hurts.
Got him, the little devil, I finally got one. The little devil, I finally got one. Got him, the little devil, I finally got one.
Now, just it's just going to be the three of us, and I thought, oh my word, it's just going to be the three of us, and I thought, oh my word, we are going.
And when I say recount, I now mean count for the first time.
The little devil, got him, the little devil, I finally got one. Got him, the little devil, I finally got one.
I now mean count for the first time.
All these other folks have been volunteering and giving up their time. These other folks have been volunteering and from the absurd to the more absurd. Now, just
got him, the little devil.
Of undervotes, about 10,000 in all, for holding it up, putting it down, creating this questionable pile of undervotes about recount it all. And then they said, well, we're going to go back and we're going to do a recount. So they start stage, Henderson, Henderson, decision by the Miami-Dade, Remember, did they not? Remember, very startling decision. Most of them by the Miami-Dade, Remember, did they not initially say, we're not going to do that, recount it all? Then they said, well, we're going to go back and we're going to do a recount. So they started the manual, we've all seen it, recount it all. And then we changed 5 minutes from now. But let's go to the very starting.
Statutes ambiguous. All right, scenario should then render these statutes ambiguous.
Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, George Walker Bush, do solemnly swear. Governor, are you ready to take the oath? Governor, are you ready to take the oath? Ready to take the oath? Ready to take the oath? Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, George Walker Bush, do solemnly swear.
I, William Jefferson Clinton, do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully execute the office of President of the United States.
that I will faithfully execute the office of President of the United States. That I will faithfully execute the office of President of the United States.
And will to the best of my ability.
And will to the best of my ability. And will to the best of my ability. preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States. Preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States. Preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States. So help me God. So help me George Walker Bush. So help me William Jefferson Clinton. Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. George Walker Bush, do solemnly swear that I will faithfully execute the office of President of the United States. And will, to the best of my ability, preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States. So help me God. So help me God. So help me God. I, William Jefferson Clinton, do solemnly swear. Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. George Walker Bush, do solemnly swear. So help me God.
See, it's the president's job and to act. I got elected because the people want the president to act. The president to act. And to act. People want the president to act. And that's exactly what I'm going to do. And that's exactly what I'm going to do. And restore confidence and optimism for the long term. We need an immediate stimulus for our economy and a pro-growth environment for years to come. Some in Congress want America to choose between these goals. We face facts and act boldly. The American economy is like a great athlete at the end of the first leg of a long race. The world's shrewdest investors put their money in America, come to work in America, and it's on the verge. Individuals make it happen. Individuals make it happen, and the right public policy empowers individuals in America and lay the foundation for future growth. For more than a year. Last March, Dow Jones Industrial Average peaked 15 months ago in January, S&P more than a quarter of its value. In the final quarter of 2000, the American economy grew at a sluggish 1.1% pace. No growth at all in new business investment. Industrial production began dropping last October, and almost every week brings us reports of layoffs, especially in manufacturing. According to the latest figures, unemployment has risen more in Michigan over the past year than in any other state of the union. But the trend is clear, and the need for action is urgent. The American consumer needs a hand. Tapping into their home equity, and partly as a result, the average homeowner's equity share in his or her house. In fact, they need it yesterday. They need it yesterday. They need it yesterday. So I strongly support the idea of backdating tax relief as swiftly as possible. Swiftly as possible. Yet our economy needs more than a pick-me-up, more than a one-time boost. More than a one-time boost. The economy needs more than a pick-me-up, more than a one-time boost. Our economic health depends on people feeling comfort and confidence about long-term decisions to buy a new home. And the people who make those decisions don't care only about this year's tax rate. Lower rates do not stimulate much economic activity unless people unless people can rely on them. We must rebuild business confidence and Lower tax rates mean a new home will be more affordable, but every year, not just the first year. Its earnings and not just the first year. Also depends not only on real, meaningful tax reductions. America has prospered more than any other major economies in recent years because our productivity has grown faster. Since 1995 and 1995. Well, you know as well as anybody, they must read better. We must be bold enough to measure our children's progress. And we must give parents and children better options and will not change tools and machinery and equipment by small business. Vast majority of American businesses. Majority of American businesses. Majority of American businesses. The vast majority of American businesses. It is important for Congress to hear this. The number of unincorporated businesses and sole proprietors are huge. Back in 1990, are huge. They face a top rate of 28%. Are huge. Those taxes come right out of cash flow, boost incomes. High taxes from taking the risk in the first place of America's net new jobs. And so I've submitted a plan that not only reduces the rate at the bottom, to continue providing the job base that'll keep America strong. Oh, I know you've heard the rhetoric about only, but I want to talk about two things, two principles. And secondly, it's important to always remember the role of the federal government, or any government for that matter. The role is to create an environment in which the entrepreneur can flourish. To be fair. The marginal tax rate on savings can reach 68%. The death tax it taxes, and my plan repeals the death tax. And my plan reforms Social Security. We will protect those who rely on Social Security. They're cautious and conservative. The Congressional Budget Office projects that the 10-year surplus would shrink by only 2%. I know you've seen the news. Are paying sharply higher energy bills. We see an omnibus. I directed Vice President Cheney to lead a task force that will produce the comprehensive energy strategy this nation needs. The tests for any energy policy are simple. Price controls do not increase supply, and the United States will not repeat the mistake again. We've seen this happen before, and it could happen again. And to act gives me a chance to do so.
Give me a goddamn cup of coffee, goddamn son of a bitch. Give me a goddamn cup of coffee, goddamn son of a bitch. Give me a goddamn cup of coffee, goddamn son of a bitch. Give me a goddamn cup of coffee, goddamn son of a bitch. Give me death and taxes coffee, son of a bitch. Give me a coffee, suck it, put that thing on my head and make me pronounce words. Give me a goddamn cup of coffee, you goddamn son of a bitch. Give me a goddamn cup of coffee, you goddamn son of a bitch. Give me a goddamn death and taxes, you goddamn son of a bitch. Death and taxes all I need, you goddamn son of a bitch. Give me a goddamn cup of coffee, you goddamn son of a bitch. Give me coffee and put it in my mouth and make me winky. I'm so thirsty, I could die. Give me a goddamn cup of coffee, goddamn son of a bitch. Give me a goddamn cup of coffee, goddamn son of a bitch. Give me a goddamn cup of coffee, goddamn son of a bitch. Give me a goddamn cup of coffee, you son of a bitch. Give me death taxes, you son of a bitch. Give me goddamn death taxes, George W. Bush.
I'd like to explain some of the principles of the tax relief plan. First of all, you hear a lot of talk about targeted tax relief, but that is not my vision of fair government. So we lower all rates for everybody who pays taxes. We understand, or I understand, and the proponents of my plan understand, it's unfair because as some taxpayers make more money, they pay a higher marginal rate than successful people do. The marginal rate on every additional dollar you earn is higher than somebody making $200,000. That's the current tax code today. And that's not right. And that's not right. One of the major principles in the tax relief plan is increase the child credit from $500 to $1,000 per child. And this is where some of the folks in Washington would rather holler than listen to the facts. Holler than listen to the facts. It's easier to a major beneficiary of dropping the top rate from 39.6 to 33% are small business owners. The limited liability corporation, just like this company, pays taxes at the high personal rate. Taxes at the top personal rate. Pays taxes at the high personal rate. Taxes at the high personal rate. And one way to do so, I've come to this plan. Oh, I've heard the rhetoric, but the reality is, the Elson Seals of the world, his company benefits. His company benefits, which makes it easier for him to employ the good folks he's employing here. The entrepreneurial spirit flourishes in America. It's also vitally important as our economy slows down. Should not let the rhetoric of a few in Washington cloud the issue. So when you hear them saying they're against dropping the top rate, there's two other issues I want to talk about. One is that the marriage penalty is unfair. And I'll tell you something else unfair in our tax code, the death tax. I don't know what your plans are to do with your business, and you ought to be allowed to do so. He pays taxes during when he makes money. When he makes money. That's one time. An equally important part of that is passing your asset base on to your kin. or your daughter. Not only does today give me a chance to talk about the benefits. Quentin's 3.5. Ian's barely hanging on at 1. He's looking for a nap. They paid $1,750 in federal income taxes. It's this. Once the government has met its basic needs and we've grown the discretionary budget by 4%, it is your money to begin with. And that's the debate that's going to take place. It's taking place in the House. It's going to take place in the Senate. Place in the House is going to take place in the Senate. Place in the House is... This debate, as far as I'm concerned, is once we've made sure Social Security is safe. And that's the people. And that's the issue during this campaign. And that's the issue during this debate. And so if you like what you heard, I urge you to use the old email or the letter. I'm honored to be able to come out and make my case, if you know what I mean. Sometimes a chance to say that ours is a plan that meets priorities. There's a lot of talk about, brother, you got a problem. It's not what they're doing during the day, but loving, if they happen to have a child, loving their children with all their heart and all their soul. That's the true strength of this country. Now, I know we've lost some wealth and tax policy and trust America. I'd like your help. This isn't for me. This is help for doing what's right for America. This is important for our economy, and we can afford it. God bless.
It's such a good feeling to know you're alive. You know that. You're growing inside, and when you wake up ready to say, I think I'll make a snappy new day. Now you can snap. Good. It's such a good feeling, a very good feeling. The feeling you know that we're friends. And there'll be lots of things that we can talk about it. And there'll be lots of things that we can talk about it. And there'll be lots of things that we can talk about it.
And I really appreciate all the acts of kindness that you've extended to me. And
boy, the outside fifth ring star Ritter. We got a bunch of them down.
Wound up coming out of a two-hole position. Wound up coming out of a two-hole position. Wound up coming out of a two-hole, and he tripped himself up.
He rides once again. The place he loves. LeBlanc returned to the place he loved, and today he rides once again, comes face to face with his own mortality. Little pieces of it flinging into the calm waters.
We are back in Cancun, Mexico. Mexico. In Cancun, Mexico.
This may be the best contest of all. You run into these phone booths. You come out wearing his bathing suit. You come out wearing hers. Go!
Stop beating up on Miss Foley.
And we've spotlighted our hottest gift for him, for her, or for kids.
The OMAC suicide race is the most dangerous horse race in all of America.
At the Southwestern Research Station, a study is in progress involving horn lizard behavior, not the least of which is eating. I've got this small paddock right here, this pen, which is filled with
an inexpensive hair clip.
You wear his suit, he wears yours.
A hair pick. Her blue jeans had rotted away. Jeans had rotted away. Underwear remained. Her synthetic underwear remained.
Need to make sure that the future for wildlife and its habitat is a bright one. More than anything, we need to take new people to Remington country.
Yes. You're hired. What? That's it? Oh, man, you don't know how much it means to me.
special musical guest.
Joe, I got great news. I got a real news assignment.
Yes, sir.
Stumbling and unseating the rider at the start. Number 10, Buzz Moon Eclipse.
Thoroughbred that can run up to 40 miles per hour.
Well, my horse was running on the lead, and he wasn't going to do anything wrong, and he got a little bit, inside, so he went right on top of me. I went right on top of him, and I went in the ditch, and he followed me, and went in the ditch, and he followed me, and he landed right on top of me.
Bruising brawls. Beatings with brooms. Baseball brouhaha. Ball brouhaha. Baseball brouhaha. Brouhaha. Ha-ha. Ball brouhaha.
I guess we're learning as we go along. We've been to Montana, South Dakota, North Dakota, Saskatchewan a couple times, and now Iowa. Well, actually, I wasn't here last year because I went to Saskatchewan, but wasn't here last year because I went to Saskatchewan, but the party did come down here. They ranted and raved about this place that we.
No, there's nothing you can do. Just leave me alone, okay?
It's more believable. What story? Oh, when you wanted to come up to that party and you swore the Academy was being terrorized by a pack of feral dogs? Let it out, Thor. Let it out.
Against whom? We feel for.
And a spade for toad can stay under the ground for a number of years, perhaps 2 years or more. They have a tool to dig into the earth and a tool to dig out. The earth and a tool to dig out. The tool to dig into the earth. They have a tool to dig into the earth and
The refund of the purchase price. Call now for your free video and brochure. Discover instant comfort with the Nautilus sleep system. Many sports are, by their nature, aggressive and violent.
Nyland's going ballistic. I love it. He's going to hit his own players. He's a madman. He's a madman. Look at him going to town. Madman. Look. He's a freaking madman. Look at him going to town. That'll be a fine. Going to town. That'll be a suspension. That'll be a fine. Nyland getting every stick. There go the rest of them. Bring them all out, Nyland, you freak. All out, Nyland, you freak.
Baseball brouhaha, baseball brouhaha, baseball brouhaha, the baseball brouhaha, ball brouhaha, the
Steve is now working very close, but all the snake does is walk.
When our work is in place, we flattens out. Any airline, chances are nearly 50-50 you'll fly on vintage planes that took their maiden voyages no later than the Carter administration.
That is cause me butter.
People they're put under are huge.
I don't want to feel like a kid again.
His money's worth around that arena.
We mentioned
Around that arena. Around that arena. Worth around that arena. His money's worth around that arena.
85 and
But he's almost in lead. He's still behind Jeff Collins on the two horses, so he's not competition. But look at the good mark out right here. And this guy, he was hollering a pistol. He won Rapid City, Houston, tied for a win in Tucson. Houston, tied for a win in Tucson. He won Rapid City, Houston, tied